Pablo Emilio Escobar is one of the most famous drug lords, kingpin of the drug trade, and one of the most notorious criminals who has ever walked this planet. Born in 1949 in the city of Rio Negro in Colombia to a middle-class family, he eventually grew from his modest upbringing to becoming one of the wealthiest men in the world. But how did he pull it off? Let's just say Pablo was really good at his job. Pablo was a force to be reckoned with in the 1980s and 90s. He was the man who got what he wanted, whenever he wanted, and from whoever he wanted it from. His involvement in a criminal lifestyle never slowed down or got disrupted in any way. At one point, Pablo was smuggling 15 tons of illegal drugs into the United States every day. Due to the high demand for drugs and Pablo being very good at his job, in 1989, Pablo's net worth was estimated at an astonishing $30 billion. This enabled Mr. Pablo to be qualified as one of the richest people at the time, and he certainly lived like one. One more thing that Mr. Escobar was really good at was spending. In this video, we'll take you along to witness the inside of a mansion built by one of the most dangerous criminals in history, the Hacienda Nápoles. If you were to drive approximately 90 miles to the east of Medellin, Colombia, you'll eventually arrive at a little town called Puerto Triunfo. Now before long, you'll come across the legendary house of Pablo Escobar, named the Hacienda Nápoles, or the Spanish name for Naples Estate. The entrance of the property is decorated with a paper airplane identical to the one used by Pablo to fly his first shipment of drugs to the United States. The property was bought by the drug kingpin in 1978, measuring about 7.7 square miles in area. Escobar's estate portfolio soon became just as impressive as his power in the 1980s. While the Hacienda wasn't Escobar's only house, it was his favorite, and with the kind of money he was bringing in on a daily basis, Escobar spared no expense when it came to building his paradise. By the time the Hacienda was finished, it was home to an exquisite Spanish colonial mansion, several swimming pools, lush lawns, man-made lakes, parks consisting of massive sculptures, and an airport. But why would anyone build an airport at their residence, you might ask? Mr. Escobar loved getting high. Getting high didn't mean taking his own supply. He loved flying high in the sky. In fact, he loved it so much that he bought 15 airplanes and 6 helicopters. The luxurious mansion also came with a private zoo, which had a couple exotic animals like hippos, 3 females and 1 male to be exact. Along with the hippos were elephants, giraffes, and even rhinos. Furthermore, Pablo also constructed a huge racetrack for his go-karts and enormous garages to show off his massive collection of vintage cars and classic bikes. So at the peak of his power in the late 1980s, Escobar could land his plane on his airstrip and then take a walk by his mega sculpture park, including statues of dinosaurs and other creatures, and decide if he'd rather enjoy going to the zoo to take a look at his animals or his private bull ring. The drug lord clearly didn't think of building a mansion this huge as a bad deal. Pablo was also said to be flying in Brazilian prostitutes to party with while his wife was at their other house in Medellin. The distance at which the property was built was not only good for keeping it hidden from the police, but also his wife, so he could carry on with his illicit affairs. But the property didn't stay in its original shape for long. After the drug lord was shot and killed by the Colombian police in 1993, the Escobar family got into a legal battle with the Colombian government regarding the ownership of the hacienda. The government won the battle and confiscated the property, but soon they realized that the management costs of all the animals and the property itself were too high, so they relocated the animals to other zoos. However, the government could not capture Escobar's most beloved animals, which were his hippos. This was difficult as they were really hard to transport and control. At one point, the hippos escaped the property somehow, and suddenly their numbers were increasing at an astounding rate. The exact figure of how many hippos inhabit the local area is currently unknown, but many cases of them wreaking havoc among the local residents have been reported. These hippos are sometimes looked at as a testament to their previous owner's legacy. Researchers have estimated that there may be over 100 of them, Many hippo sightings have been reported from even 100 miles away from the estate. Scientists are trying to figure out a way to deal with these hippos as they're an invasive species. In fact, they might be affecting the entire ecosystem, making it hard for native plants and other animals. In 2014, the land was taken control of by a private company and was operating as the Parque Temático Hacienda Nepals, or a Jurassic Park-themed tourist destination for open ages. It includes a water park, a butterfly farm, and a museum. In this park, you can swim under the Victory waterfalls or the gigantic sculptures. Sightings of exotic animals like ostriches, zebras, and monkeys, which are primarily in Africa and are not native to Colombia, can be seen here as well. As of June 2014, a female hippo named Vanessa, who responded to her name, was still at the property as reported by tourists. Pablo's old bull ring has been chopped in half and has been renovated as an African museum. Pablo didn't only hold his bullfights here, but the venue was used for other forms of entertainment as well, such as musical performances, circuses, and a few other things. As the property has been made into a family-friendly park, the government has been making some efforts to erase the name of the ruthless drug lord from the park. Despite many efforts, the government soon realized that the influence of Escobar lingers in the minds of tourists, just like his influence in Colombia, and they visit the region only because of him. People have been sneaking into the property for the sole purpose of digging up the lawn in hopes of finding and recovering any treasure Escobar may have left behind after his death. Pablo's burned private car collection and the ruins of his house are still publicly accessible as of today, but according to a report in 2015, the ruins of the house have collapsed. In December of 2018, the park day ticket was priced at 42,000 pesos, which was equivalent to around $15. The property is so spread apart and big that in order to explore it, some people may have to rent a rickshaw or a bicycle to have a complete tour of the property. The presence of the hippos, along with the replica plane that sits at the entrance of the property, is just a reminder that, despite the family-friendly theme park that it is today, it only exists because of Pablo Escobar. Which subject about the famous Pablo Escobar should we cover next? Let us know in the comments section below. And we hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to our channel with the bell icon on so you never miss another upload. Your support means a lot to us and motivates us to keep uploading more fascinating content for you. Thank you very much for choosing to spend your time with us here today, everybody. We'll see you in our next video.